Homelessness among armed forces veterans in England have risen by 14%. We're going to read into this more from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an article from The Guardian with the headline that homelessness among armed forces veterans in England have risen by 14%. The figures show 2,110 households affected in 2022-2023 are up from 1,850 last year, despite the government's pledge and £8.8 million housing fund. We talked about homelessness, obviously, before, guys. We've talked about immigration, but we've not talked about veterans, guys. Now, there is a serious mental health and psychological effect on veterans when they participate in any kinds of conflict, or when they are abroad, sometimes where they are away from family and loved ones. And although right now we haven't been at war, or we're not directly in a conflict, shall we say, some forces do some armed forces, some ex-veterans do participate in certain conflicts and that as well. And it's important that whenever they come back from these, they're given all the care and support that they need. Whether you agree or disagree with whatever they've taken part of, it's important to look after our veterans. It really, really is. It's sickening to me that any veterans who served our country are homelessness. I already hate the fact that people are homeless because nobody chooses to be. It's already sickening as it is. But we're talking about veterans here, guys. We're talking about people who have a very difficult, impossible job of being a soldier in a battlefield, killing one another humans in some cases. Out there, some of them out there being part of the armed forces in what sometimes can be extremely uncomfortable, difficult situations, and they have to have that, and they have to have a strong mental mind to do that. But as time passes, and sometimes as some can get older, it can have a detrimental effect on their mental health, even the strongest of wills, and they need to be looked after. And I think it's absolutely despicable that any veterans are homeless. It should not be happening. There needs to be proper systems in place to ensure that every veteran is given all the support and care that they need, just like any ordinary person here in this country. But for veterans who choose to go into it, because not many people go into the British Armed Forces now. I think that, I don't know the numbers right now off the top of my head, but I'm going to say it's probably not as high as it used to be. But it's a very difficult job for what they do, and it's quite disheartening to see that the homelessness for armed forces veterans is going up, and more needs to be done to reduce that number, guys. So homelessness among military veterans in England have risen by 14% in the last year, despite a government's pledge to ensure no former armed forces personnel are on the streets this Christmas. Last year, UK ministers announced more than £8.8 million to fund hundreds of supported housing places that face closure, marking the launch of a scheme called Operation Fortitude. The scheme is supported to enable veterans at risk of homelessness to access supporting housing or wraparound specialist care in health, accommodation and education. So they launched the scheme. So what's gone wrong with the scheme then? But 2,110 households with someone who served in the armed forces were assessed as homeless in 2022-2023, according to the figure from the Department of Housing, up from 1,850 last year. Labour analysis of the figures show 500 veterans' households are being made homeless every 3 months. This year, the Veterans Affairs Minister, Johnny Mercer, said if former soldiers were still homeless by the end of 2023, he would want to know why, as we've gone out, secured the money, designed the programs. I've worked hard on this. Well, either you've done either you've done the job or the Guardian is lying here. It's one of the two. On Thursday, in an op-ed for LBC's radio website, Mercer said 400 veterans had been housed through Operation Fortitude, but added, "I know as we need to do more to spread this support throughout the country as the new year approaches, my dedication to this cause will not falter." The Shadow Veterans Ministry, Steve McCabe, criticised the government. Labour is deeply proud of our armed forces personnel, veterans and their families for the enormous contribution they make to our country, but they're being let down by this government, he said. After 13 years of Conservative failure, ministers have failed to create a postcode lottery. Ministers have created a postcode lottery for veterans and halved employment support, and more veterans are homelessness than last year. This month it was revealed that 1 in 3 service personnel were living in grade 4 single living accommodation, the lowest rating given by the Ministry of Defence. The Shadow Armed Forces Minister Luke Ponnell has launched a Homes Fit for Heroes campaign to highlight the poor state of armed forces accommodation. If Labour gets into power, it pledges to incorporate the Armed Forces Convert into law to make sure that former personnel have the best access to quality, affordable homes. I would hope so as well, guys. I would hope so as well. Be optimistic. I try to be optimistic about it, that Labour tend to do something for the veterans. Whether they will or not, I'm not going to hold my breath on that. I'm skeptical. Not gonna lie, but guys, what do you honestly think about our veterans, regardless of the conflicts that they participated in, whatever their conflicts are? They're still human beings with emotions and feelings, and they need to be looked after, guys. What can be done? What should be done? I think is a good question we need to ask ourselves, because while I understand that we have a housing crisis right now, and it's definitely impacting British people, it's impacting veterans, impacting immigration. There's all sorts of things that are impacting it. Yes, we need to build more homes. I know we need to build more homes. Labour are going to be doing everything they can to build as many homes as they possibly can. I'm sure they will. But what do you guys think? What do you think about homelessness, armed forces, veterans? What would you guys recommend to do? Yeah, given that we do have a bit of a housing situation, do you think perhaps there are ways? What ways, schemes, and ideas would you guys have, or suggest in the comments section down below? Let me know. Interested to hear your thoughts on this. I'm just. They go through a lot. These veterans. Some of them who actually go through. I feel really bad for those who actually are in conflicts or have suffered from conflicts, have come back and find themselves a broken person because of it, and not have it, if they don't have friends and family to support them, and they're relying on the government to be there for them, and the support schemes that are around are not there for them. Seeing veterans on the homelessness, I think is just nothing short of despicable, guys. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, guys. If you can, hit the like button, we greatly appreciate it. Share this across social media so others are aware of it. And hit that bell notification icon to be notified of when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me, you can do so by joining my YouTube membership or on Patreon, or you can buy me a coffee. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.